Hello and welcome to the Avid NEXIS overview demo video. I'm Bob Russo, Senior Principal Designer at Avid. In this 15-minute video, I'm going to show you how you can accelerate production with the world's first software-defined storage platform, Avid NEXIS. After a brief intro, I'll be presenting a demo of the system in action to give you a good idea of how it works. The media storage landscape is changing rapidly as media professionals face new challenges, new technologies, and new ways of working. Teams need to share and access media assets reliably with anyone, anywhere. And businesses can't afford to overinvest in infrastructures that may become obsolete in the future. As a result of all these changes, we see these trends emerging: consolidation of infrastructure, storage virtualization, flash storage, cloud and storage services, and software-defined storage. As the pioneer of storage virtualization over the last 2 decades, Avid has consistently led storage innovation tailored for the media industry. Once again, Avid has reimagined and reinvented storage to help media production teams work faster and more efficiently from wherever they are. We've created a flexible, uniquely modular storage solution that brings creative teams together, eliminates media silos, and expands production beyond facility walls. The system provides the performance and reliability you need today, the scalability for tomorrow, and the technology into the future. That's Avid NEXIS, the world's first and only software-defined storage platform that enables true storage virtualization for any media application at a competitive price. Let's take a look at the interface for the Avid NEXIS and just how easy it is to use. Logging into the Avid NEXIS is similar to working with a home router. Just type in the IP address for the system director. Any computer on the network can manage the system, even if it's not an editing client. You're presented with a login page for the management console. I'm going to log in as the administrator. Later, I'll show you how users without administrator privileges can still use the system. There's no requirement for a password, and this field can be left blank. Once logged in, you're presented with a very easy-to-use interface. If you've ever used an Avid shared storage product before, you should find the interface extremely familiar. The first thing we'll look at are storage groups. Avid NEXIS is the first software-defined storage platform that enables true storage virtualization for any media application. Pools of disks are organized into media packs, and up to 24 media packs can be combined into a single storage group. In this example, there are 2 media packs in this storage group. At any time, additional media packs can be added or removed that will enlarge the overall storage and performance. Next, we'll look at Workspaces. You can think of these as small drives or partitions that can be created based on the storage group. There are a number created already. To create one, select New, and the side panel opens. Give it a name and size. These both can be changed later. One of the unique features of Avid NEXIS is each workspace can have its own protection level. There is 2-disk protection, where 2 disks can fail and not lose any media. 1 disk, where 1 disk can fail and not lose any media, but takes up less space, and unprotected. You can also set up warnings to be notified if it is starting to get full. I'm going to have the system let me know if I have less than 5 gig in this workspace or it's 90% used. This way, I'll be notified before it's full and can resize to add space. Specific rights can be assigned to the workspace at this point. I can give one set of users read and write, another set read only. And these users don't have access to the workspace and don't even know it's available. Just like with the name and size, don't worry if you aren't sure who needs access to the workspace. This can be changed later. Hit apply and close. Now that I've created this workspace, I can select it and see the specifics for it or any of the workspaces. The Fisker workspace is colored red, where the others are green. This is showing me that it has crossed one of my event triggers and I should take action. If I need to create the identical workspace, I can select it and duplicate it. This workspace has the identical user permissions and size. When I'm done, it's just as easy to delete the workspace, gaining back the storage. Up to 1,024 workspaces can be created, and there's no limit on the number of times the workspaces can be resized with no impact on workflow. Because it's so easy to create, resize, and delete workspaces, they can be used as a method to manage assets by separating projects into specific workspaces. When the project is finished, I can zero out the storage, gaining back the unused space for other projects, or simply delete it, gaining all the storage back. Now, let's move on to users. The Avid NEXIS can have over 5,600 separate user accounts. This allows for everyone to have their own account. I'm going to make a couple users. The first is going to be a trusted assistant editor. Select Users and New. Type in a name and password. Because this is my trusted assistant, I'm going to give that user the ability to resize workspaces by selecting Can Resize. This way, if you're not around and the workspace is almost full, this user can log in and resize workspaces. I'm going to give this user read and write to these workspaces and read only to the others. There's no access to other workspaces, so an editor can have specific access to a set of workspaces and not the others. This way, there can be a number of sub-administrator accounts for different projects. The next user is a freelance editor. I'm not going to allow for the ability to resize workspaces. Another one of the unique features of NEXIS is the ability to limit the bandwidth any specific user can read or write to the system. I'm going to limit the bandwidth to 5 megabytes, and since I want this user to work on a specific project, I'm not going to give them access to the other workspaces. I'll log out as the administrator and in as the assistant editor. As you can see, the management console has changed. I have a subset of the controls and can only resize workspaces I have access to. Now log in as the freelancer. You see now I only have access to the system status history and the installers. This way, our user could log in with a computer that's never been connected to the Avid NEXIS before and install the client. I'll cover that a little bit later. Now, I'll log back in as the administrator. Let's take a look at bandwidth limits. This is yet another unique feature. You saw earlier how I was able to apply a limit to the bandwidth based on the user account. This can also be applied on a specific computer, no matter the user that's logged in. I see all the computers connected and simply type in a number, and instantly the bandwidth is reduced. This is great if you have a user that needs to copy large files but doesn't want to impact the rest of the users. I can look here in the status panel and see all the connected clients and the bandwidth they are using. If I need more detail, I can look in the client bandwidth. This shows me all the connected users and the bandwidth they are using in greater detail. The next thing I'll cover in the management console is the system status history. I can get here by selecting System Status History under Tools or by selecting one of the lights in the status menu. This takes a snapshot every minute and I can see the status of the entire system. This includes all the connected computers and how much bandwidth they are using. It's a powerful way to see what's been taking place on the system and to warn you if there's an issue. I can see that I have 3 computers attached and the bandwidth they have been using. The last thing we'll cover is the Avid NEXIS client. Selecting it will download the client so it can be installed. This is great when you want to connect a computer. There's no need to have to sneakernet software. Everything you need is available to every user that has an account. Now we'll move to the Client Manager. This is how Workspaces are mounted. When it's launched, it will automatically discover any Avid NEXIS the computer is attached to. No need to have to mount network shares using complicated UNC paths. Just log in and all the workspaces my user has privileges for are available. On Windows, the client is slightly different. I'm able to auto-connect, but I'm also able to use the Windows login. This combined with auto-connect, and the user doesn't have to know anything about Avid NEXIS. They log into their computer, and the workspaces automatically mount. I can assign a mount point either as a letter or UNC path. This is important when working with file-based media, so the path doesn't change and the media remains online. Using a unique technology we call Avid Adaptive Load Balancing, the Avid NEXIS client can combine the bandwidth of two connections, nearly doubling the performance. This is a low-cost method to improve performance and add resiliency without having to run expensive fiber channel. All right, that wraps up our demo. Hopefully, you now have an idea of how easy it is to use Avid NEXIS to secure and protect your assets, boost your production, and improve collaboration with real-time performance. Thank you for watching. To learn more about what I presented, please visit our website at avid.com.